All right, Rob. April 30th, man, you're back in another main event, another contender. Chito Vera, he's the opponent. When we heard the announcement, right, we thought, what about Corey Sandhagen? What about Merab? What about Cruz? Those names are floating around ahead of him in the rankings. Were any of those discussed?
No, not at all. This was definitely something I wasn't even thinking about. Caught me by surprise. I figured obviously I would love to get the Corey Sandhagen fight. I thought it made sense. Obviously he's ranked ahead of me, but we're both coming off of a loss, so I just figured it just made sense. But it didn't play out, and then they offered this fight, and we talked about it, and we just took it.
Why did it make sense for you?
Um, Obviously another opportunity, another main event, another tough guy. Unfortunately we fighting backwards, but you know, um, it is what it is. We've done it before. It just made sense.
And also, I believe the UFC seems to be rewarding guys for staying active as well, right?
I mean, shit. Hopefully, hopefully we get a little something after this fight too. But yeah, I like to stay active anyway.
Yeah.
So especially coming off a loss, why not try to get back in there and bounce back? So
Definitely, and Vera, definitely, without a doubt, a fun style to fight against. Could you describe what type of fighter you see as a competitor?
yeah, he's rangy. He's been looking a lot better with his striking. But what I've known, I thought he was like more of a grappler, but he's looking real smooth with the striking. So he's definitely well rounded. And he's tough. He has those. Obviously, he throws a lot of kicks. When you get close, he's using that tight clinch and throwing lots of elbows and getting dirty in there. Then any chance he can, get to that body lock, take it down. He's been submitting guys as well. So overall, this is a tough fight. Again, yeah, we're back in it. Another 5 round fight with another killer. So
Yeah, definitely. And Vera, he's a southpaw, and southpaw is usually a little bit more trickier. And then on top of that, you mentioned the long and rangy aspects of him. For somebody that fights, and you're preparing for a guy that is a southpaw, how tricky is that for someone that is at the highest level compared to, like, let's say, amateurs?
you know what I would say it's probably a little bit more trickier for in boxing and for boxers. I think in martial arts, like especially you see like karate and like, taekwondo and like obviously even Muay Thai, they have guys switching since they're young, they're early. So you see the stance switches a lot. And I was seeing stance switches a lot since I even started, even martial arts. So it wasn't. I don't think it affected me that much. Like I hear like how it is for boxers. Like um, there are rules, there are tricks, there are little games you can play as a southpaw in an orthodox fighter. But I switch it up a little bit as well. So it's like I'm not too worried about his southpaw stance, but I also know that he kind of he switches it up as well. So he's gonna play southpaw. He's gonna play righty. You know, I just got to catch him in between stances and make him pay. But I'm not too worried about the southpaw stance.
Do you feel like in the next, let's say, 5, 10 years, if you're not able to fight in both stances, then you'll never make it to the top of the divisions?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say it's gonna be a lot harder for sure. It'll be a lot harder. You know, yeah, or at least understand the defense and offense on both sides. You definitely need to know that for sure. Because like guys are learning that they're learning how to switch stance from the first day they're getting in there now. So yeah.
And when you fought Aldo, right? Or when he fought Aldo, sorry. When he fought Aldo, you fought Moraes earlier that night. What do you
Yeah.
remember about that performance?
I honestly didn't. I don't think I've watched it. I didn't watch it that night. The Apex they get you in and out pretty early, and pretty quick. So after those fights, and so I don't really remember watching that fight too much. I remember them obviously being there on fight week. I remember them the wins, all that, but I don't remember really watching that fight. Obviously I watched it since, but I don't really remember that fight too much.
All right. So when you watched it, and you kind of stack it up against your performance against Aldo, what do you see?
man, Aldo's a fun motherfucker, man. No, he's good, man. But no, I see I've seen a lot of things that he let Aldo get off, and some things he didn't do, and I also saw some things that he did well against Aldo. Yeah, man, like I said, man, I just seen how good Aldo really is, man.
Yeah, definitely good. And going back to that night, you know, you faced Marlon. Marlon just retired from
Yeah,
MMA.
saw that. I saw that.
And what was your reaction to the news, man? He's only 33.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to him. He retired. Yeah, he's off to a new chapter in his life. He's only 33, but I know he's been going at it for a while. He was kickboxing for a while too, so those add up too, and yeah, yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I think we should be praising people when they retire more than
Yeah,
saying
100%,
that they should stick
100%.
around and chase after this. If they want to retire, they need to
Yeah,
retire, man.
they got
That's the
yeah.
rules, I
They
think.
having that. Yeah, they having those thoughts. They having those feelings. I couldn't even imagine trying to like go through a camp and having that in the back of my mind before a fight. There's no way. And then even getting into the fight with those type of thoughts is just kind of like it's kind of crazy. So yeah, man, like you're thinking, and I think that's something you got to pull the trigger on quick.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that is a unique situation if you know that this will be your last fight and you're going to
Man,
retire. It's mentally like you might not be there to actually go in there and kill somebody.
like it's got to be hard. It's got to be hard. I would and, hopefully I'm retiring off a win and and yeah, because like I can't even imagine. It's got to be real tough.
Now, going back to Vera, man, he's coming off back-to-back victories over Davy Grant, Frankie Edgar. You know, when you look at both of those fights, what has been your impression of his development? Because you mentioned earlier about him being a grappler, but then you've seen his striking is it's getting better.
Yeah, he's looking sharp everywhere. Those elbows, Davy Grant, that fight he was looking solid with the combinations, the elbows, and then even getting into the clinch, and then the Frankie fight, we saw grit, you saw toughness, you seen he lost, I want to say at least a round and a half, maybe two, and then comes back and obviously puts Frankie away, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do. That's hard to just put Frankie away, but it's hard to come back and win like that in any fight in the UFC. So you got to give it to him for that. But um, man, he's looking sharp. He's hungry. He obviously he wants to get to that belt. He wants to break into the top five, and this is his first main event. So this is pretty big for him, and so I know he's gonna bring it.
Whenever you got guys calling you out, you know, Rob, you're pretty chill, right? You're not really out there like talking shit and talking crazy in interviews and stuff like that. But when guys kind of when they mention your name, how does it actually make you feel? Because you're not a guy that just goes on social media and then starts blasting back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is like there's only a handful of fights we can get into right now, so they only make sense. So it's kind of like we're talking. If it makes sense, we're going to do it eventually. So, but if it's just one of those kind of fighters that this just doesn't make sense, there's no way. Like it's kind of like I just kind of laugh at it. But if it's a fight that like again like that's right in front of me or right behind me, it's like there's no need to talk. Where it's going to happen with the contract that you kind of know, like when it's going to happen. So it's there, but obviously, like also haven't had that many people call me out either. So it's kind of, again, like I was like that, like O'Malley called me out. It's kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, but like, come on, man, like, it's not really gonna happen. So like, why waste your time? Why go back and forth? But there's a game to that too. I gotta play a little bit more.
Yeah, sometimes. And the New England Cartel, man, you guys are always on the move. Where have you guys spent this training camp?
Been just doing a lot in Maine. This camp, wrestling a lot and just grappling. And then also up in New Hampshire, we've been going to a lot of Henzo Gracie classes. So just grappling, sticking with the sparring as usual, and obviously our private one-on-one session with Coach Tyson. But yeah, we've been grappling a lot this fight.
When you visit those gyms, what is the reaction from the people when you walk in? They're like, what? They're
It's all love, man. It's all love. They come in, they're eager to help. They're eager to like stop their drilling sessions and help us get ready for the fights. They're Yeah, I love the support from
Mm.
from everybody out here, and it's kind of like, what do you need? Let me know. We'll take care of you, and they go forward, and all they need and they want is a pitcher, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. So, with this fight coming up, right? What type of performance do you want to have against Vera?
Yeah, so Vera's tough, and he doesn't get finished that often. So look, the goal is getting there and finish him. Obviously, I would love to get in there and outclass him, but to finish him be just the icing on the cake that I need right now to bounce back off the W.
Definitely. And, Vera seems like he's looking at this fight as a title eliminator for himself. What do you think is on the line for you in this matchup?
Nothing, not much, man, not much. A lot of like some money, but and obviously my health, but it's not much. I don't gain much from this fight, except for the exposure, the experience, and the fact that I get to go back out there and have fun and do what I love to do. But yeah, it's not one of those fights that like kind of like I gain much of, except for maybe a couple more followers.
Yeah. And also, you get to plant your flag, right? And say, I'm still a contender in this division. This is my
Yeah.
spot. And this fight will prove it, right? Especially with a guy
Uh,
like Vera, who's coming up, who's hot in the division right now.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Then we get in there, we get rid of Cheeto and get back to fighting. Obviously guys in front of me. So we'll slowly working on that.
I wanted to pick your brain about last weekend, man. There's a lot of implications, for the bantamweight division with that fight against with the fight, with Sterling and Hyon. A lot of people, they felt like it was a close fight. Some say that it was a draw with Aljo getting the 10-8 in the second round. Some have it 3-2 either way. What was your assessment of that fight?
Um, just like everybody else, not sure going into it. Trying to figure out who won that first round. It's pretty clear the last two. And obviously the third round was. When did he had his back in the second round for the whole like fourth? So yeah, the first, fourth. I mean, the second round was pretty clear. Um, I gotta go back and watch it, but it's weird because like I think it was something similar like that with the Tisha Torres and Mackenzie Dern fight where I think they gave it to Dern and she was going forward, but it seemed like Tisha was landing more and moving. But in the obviously the main event, they gave it to Aljo, and he was the one kind of backing up and moving. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Obviously, when you leave it to the judges, no clear cut winner when you leave it to the judges. So um, it was fun. It was entertaining. It finally happened. So I'm happy about that. And now the division gets to move on, and there's more names out there now. So
Yeah, definitely. And Sterling, man, he came back and I felt like he had a great performance because he ate shit for like a year.
yeah,
Straight up was eating shit for like a year, right? And they came back and won the
yeah,
fight, the rematch, which everybody
yeah,
thought he wasn't going to do.
yeah. No, he did his thing, man. He went out there. He figured out what he needed to do to get the job done and got it done. So I mean, shouts out to him. But yeah, it was close, but he did what he had to do to get the W.
Do you think Sterling so-called cracked the code of Jan, like how to beat him, with strategy?
Um, I mean, I mean, obviously, yeah, he won, so I would say yeah, but you know, it was obviously even for him, I'm pretty sure he would even say he probably would have liked to have it a little bit more dominant, and secured a lot more takedowns and a little bit more clear cut for him. So yeah, I mean, I think he figured out how to win. I would say he definitely didn't figure out how to completely dominate the fight, but you also don't need completely dominate fight to keep that belt. So, um, but we'll see, man. You never know how these fights play out, and you never know, there might be a rematch. So we'll maybe get to see that.
A third fight, a third fight. Would you like to see a third fight right away, or
No,
no?
hell no, man. Keep it
Right?
moving. No,
And
come
keep
on,
moving,
man.
right? Keep the truck moving.
Keep it
Yeah,
moving.
and well, T.J. Dillashaw was in the stands, and it seemed like he wants to be next in line. Do you think he deserves that spot, or does he need to show more? Does he need to fight someone else?
um, so who do you have right now? You have obviously TJ's out there. Then it's Aldo and who else?
Well, Sanhagen, and then you're in the rankings
Yeah.
up there at the
So
top five.
I mean, and then Peter already fought Aldo. So yeah, I mean, yeah, either obviously you do the TJ and Aldo fight, let that play out, and then or you give it to TJ. So I mean, I would like to see Aldo and TJ go at it first, and for get the champ some time to rest up, see that how it plays out, and then we'll go from there. But you never know. TJ and Sterling is a pretty big fight too, so I can see that playing out first.
Could you see yourself, you take care of Vera, could you see yourself fighting Hyon next? That could line up perfectly for you, and that could line you up for the title after that.
Yeah, man, that'd be perfect. That'd be a perfect lineup, match up. That'd be the fight you need to get to that belt. But I'm not even thinking about that, man. I got Cheeto in front of me. I got another main event, another 5 rounds. So, I'm just focusing on that.
For sure. And Henry Cejudo, he announced that he's re-entering the USADA pool. I don't even know if that's real or fake.
I was about to say,
I don't
is
know.
he trolling or is that legit? I know he's saying that, but he's also trying to fight for the belt at 45.
Yeah.
But then you got the champ at 45 trying to fight at 55.
Yeah.
So is this even real? Like, what's going on with that? But
Yeah.
How can you confirm if he is entered if he entered into the USADA pool? Is there like a way you can confirm that, or is there
I don't know how you
we
confirm
gotta call Donna and Jeff and see what's up.
We gotta get the app and see, see if he's on that thing.
See if he really sit back in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, again, I'm still trying to figure out if that's real or not. And obviously, if he comes back to fight at 45, I think he should get in there with my boy Calvin Kattar and before he gets to the belt. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what Volkanovski was saying. Is like Cejudo fights one guy in the top 10 or top 5. If he wins, then he could get in the mix for the title. But to me, I think Cejudo should go back into the bantamweight mix. I feel like that is the division. If he wants to solidify his legacy, I think if you go into the bantamweight division, which is stacked crazy, and go in there and go on a title run and win the title and defend it, and then fight Volkanovski, I feel like that would be the best path for him instead of just jumping in against the 45ers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see though. Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see.
You speak of Calvin. If you look at the rankings, Max is at 1 and Yair is 2. Then Ortega is there, right? And then there's Calvin sitting at number 4. If Max doesn't fight, that actually puts Calvin in the spot to fight for the title next. What does that make sense? Of course it does, right? He's your teammate.
I mean, yeah. Hell yeah, we make it happen. He's out of contract right now, but. He's always ready. He's always ready. What happened to Max's last fight? Did he get injured or something?
Yeah,
like that,
he got injured, and then
I
guess
he's all
good.
Fight?
He was supposed to fight Volkanovski.
Okay, so he was supposed to get the title fight. All right. What's the deal with him now? Like, what's going on?
Well, I guess he's not injured because he was supposed to be the backup, but we never know. You know what I mean? Because he's pretty quiet when he's not actually fighting, so we have no idea. So hey, it's all timing too. You know what I mean? If Max is still hurt and Volkanovski's not going to 155, then you have to put the Kattar fight together, right? Because Kattar he just derailed the hype train, right? That nobody really wanted to fight. I think timing is so important.
Nah, I like it. I like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking. Let's make that happen. I think June, July, so that makes sense.
One last question, man, before I let you go. Right now, I'm embedded with the fight team, and after 6 months, I'm gonna step into the cage and fight. Because I want to feel like I'm covering the sport. I need to feel what it feels like to be a fighter, right? So that's that time. Yeah. What is some advice you can give me, man?
As far as, should we say, training or like fight night?
Anything.
Obviously trust the process and have fun in training camp and really really just check in and try to lose yourself in the process of just getting ready for these fights. And then, come fight night, I really, really, really believe if you just control your breathing and control your emotions, you can do anything you want out there. So just get out there, relax, breathe, really slow it down and see with your eyes, just have fun out there.
All right. Appreciate that, man. April 30th, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas. Another main event, another contender, like
Let's
I said
go.
earlier.
Hell
Rob,
yeah.
appreciate the time, man. All the best on the rest of the camp, and you know, best on the night.
My man, thank you so much.